Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carney?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Pledge of allegiance. Next, we have approval of minutes of the May 20th meeting. Have a motion.
Rush.
Carmine. Discussion? Not voting.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carney?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Outside participation.
Yes, sir.
Tim wants to sing and dance a little bit.
No.
So, I'll move on to the report of the treasurers and a motion to accept.
Stryker.
Second.
Albert.
Any discussion on that? Any questions? How we're gonna end up, you got an idea where we're at the end of the year?
Not really.
It's close, but
It's,
the reconciliation is.
yeah. And we need to sit, I don't think we've gone through like all the open POs and said, okay, now we gotta
Yeah.
whittle some of them down, and it's gonna happen the next couple days.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and vote.
Mr. Carvine?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinzers.
We had a June retirement that we wanted to recognize, but unfortunately Linda had a conflict at the last minute and wasn't able to be here. But Linda Allen was our librarian at Kenton High School, and she was with the district for 33 years. So Chad will actually present her with her apple, but we're really grateful to have her and to have her as part of our district for 33 years to serve our children. So thank you, Linda, for everything you've done, and I honestly think everything else is covered in the agenda. It's a heavy one.
Yeah. Save your comments for.
We'll just go through it. I think it'll be,
moment.
sure, your questions, you can ask me anytime.
All right, we'll go to board reports, finance committee.
Mr. President, that is me. We met on, it was actually the 12th of this month. And you'll actually see what I'll talk about here later on. I'll kind of make a note there. But on 10N, we did talk about the summer custodian pay. We reviewed that, made a decision there that we're voting on. Also on 10M, the Perry ProTech copy machine, I think we approved it last month. That's kind of been done with a hopeful savings of about $700 a month. And we're updating on some of the color copies with some more anticipated savings with that contract. And then on 10I, you'll notice we are asking to ratify the negotiation agreement with KEA. Obviously an important thing there. And then also staffing needs are still posted on the website, so if anyone's interested in any kind of positions for the summer or the next school year, they're posted on our website for that.
All right.
And that's it, Mark. Good.
Questions? Facilities committee?
We didn't meet past months.
But I do have an update.
Oh, good.
I met with Kurt Chambers yesterday to go over what our attorney had looked at the solar power purchase agreement, and so we should have that on the agenda next month.
Nice.
Awesome. Great.
Extracurricular.
We did not meet this month either.
Well, technically, we met in 2 rounds of interviews. A little bit.
Okay.
But I think things
Thanks.
are going well, and we have things in place. We just need, just like you guys, some drier weather so we can put some concrete down for that soccer concession stand. So just weather's holding us back a little bit from getting some of the athletic stuff up and ready. But we still have a month. We're in good shape.
We'll be particularly with soccer.
Soccer is always wet, and then the rain doesn't help us because we can't get the trucks on there right now to get the concrete poured. So As soon as we get a window, we will.
Press button.
I call it a concession stand,
Concession stand.
but it's a press box and concession stand. I don't know technically what
Combo.
it's referred to.
I would just, concession stand maybe.
There's
Press
nothing
box.
there now. We need to put something.
Career Center?
Mr. Blue had nothing to relay, so I don't really have a report.
But you did share the.
I did remind Jen that Mr. Blue has 7 more meetings left, and then his term at High Point will be finished. So we'll need to find someone to take his place, or fill in his spot. Can't take his place.
And there's an application process for that, so that will probably be coming out late August, early September.
Policy Committee?
That's me. Okay, we did meet on the 7th of this month. We had some discussion. We actually asked our school nurse, Mindy Hensel, to come in, and we've asked her to get us aligned with the new recommendations or alignment with the CDC in reference to our policy number 8451. She's working on that and is going to report back to us. And then also we're reviewing, Joey Day actually brought in a new athletic handbook, and we're kind of reviewing that for updating policies, the handbook, and I think we're working on that on multi-platforms to see if we can make that go across more than just athletics, even maybe into some of the other activities that are in the school. And then,
And just so you know, that is a LICE-NIT policy.
yes, LICE-NET policy, I was going to say that.
That number that Mindy's working on.
The 8451. And then the last thing actually was on 10K, we're actually we reviewed the application for the Kenton volleyball. They're asking as a category 2 for the use of the facilities. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Any old business? No on the agenda, so move to new business. We have item 10, authorizations and resolutions. Motion for approval.
Rush.
Second.
Stryker.
All right. There's lots of things there.
Engineer things.
Lots of end of the year things. Some of the things mentioned by the committee reports. So does anybody have comments, questions, discussion they want to have on any of those?
If you take your
Particular item.
motion, I'll run you through it. Did you already do the motion?
We did the motion.
Yeah.
Well, then how about I run you through it? So the first one is just we always approve exchange students, and we have not met our quota yet this year, so we still may be adding 1 or 2
that-
before August comes.
Can I ask, is that a male or a female?
That's what that is training for. And the next one, the behavior coach services, that aligns to what we call our units. So our cross-categorical, our special ed, high-intense units, and our emotionally disturbed units at the buildings. The handbooks, those are typical. Trips are easy. We've seen those before. The teacher agreement, we'll have some of the nuts and bolts, I hope, soon. Ryan's working on my computer.
Want a copy of it for everybody?
No, just me. But basically, if we break it down, the biggest components were that we'll be doing a 1.5% increase on the base for 1 year, and that's based on our fiscal forecast. And then we also tried to provide the same insurance that we did in the past for our employees, but the difference in this contract is there's a little bit of a match involved, so that employees that contribute, they'll have a certain amount put in by the board, but that if they contribute, we'll match up to a certain point, which basically got them $100 more than they had in the past in that HSA savings. And then the other ones were just changing some things like personal leave. There was a little bit more money given if they don't use personal leave. So just a few little tweaks like that throughout. But the major ones that people want to know are what is the salary schedule and what is the benefit package. So that's basically what you'll see in 10I.
10J is all my funny and things.
You know how to have a good time.
10M, we talked about, it is a reduced cost, which is crazy. How can you upgrade and even upgrade to color copiers in some places, and it's a reduced cost, but we'll take it. I think it's just that technology might get cheaper. So these are more efficient machines, so higher capacity machines. They've actually been replaced, I think last week. The thing that we're changing, that we even see a greater savings than just this monthly savings, is that we have a service called Paper Cut, which we can assign everyone a code, and we can track what they use and what they copy. And so you just saw the big stack I'm going to get credit for when Ryan hands me that. But what we can do is actually assign dollar amounts to teachers so that you're actually aware that this job cost me, let's say, $10 if I print it in color, but $4 if I print it black and white. And we can start making economical decisions about that, and also monitor how many copies are being made by each person. And they've seen significant reductions in cost by doing that in other districts, and we're hoping to do the same. So we'll be putting that in place next year. We talked about the bus. Transportation agreements, that's just because we have the satellite programs in 10P. That's nothing new. There was I don't know if it was ORC or ODE, requires us to change the title of one of our positions, so we did that. That's what you see in 10Q.
Is the 10R, is that new? Have we been taking care of the buses?
I think we did last year.
Last year, okay.
Yep.
I'm
At least
only a
1
year
year,
behind.
maybe 2.
I think this is our second year.
Second year.
Do you know how many buses they have?
I would have no idea. I mean, not off the cuff. I don't think it's many, but
Yeah, I
we're
don't think so.
luckily we have the space and the people to be
think they
able to
have-
service buses
I think
and
they
help.
have 4.
She didn't think so.
I think 4 or 5.
4
Yeah.
or 5.
Yes.
Okay.
10S, this is a real positive for us. So we did vote on the start and stop time of school for KCS. However, our grant monies ran out for the after-school club roar program, which is why we ran the very, very late buses for the last couple of years. Because of the Leader in Me program, if you've been there, they've actually incorporated all their after-school clubs to Wednesday mornings, like the first Wednesday of the month. So we no longer have a need to do after-school routing for the whole school, if you will, for Club Roar programming. So we'll still offer tutoring, there will still be clubs after school and things, but we won't have to run those buses. And because we don't have to run the buses and account for that half-hour club time, we're actually able to extend the day by 10 minutes, which may not seem like a lot, but when you're trying to get all the instruction time in during the day, especially for grades like 4, 5, and 6, where they move classes and you have downtime between shifts, that 10 minutes can make a big difference. So be patient. The first week of school might be a little different because it just takes us a little bit to adjust when we make an adjustment, but I think that 10 minutes will be more felt by the teachers and the students than by the parents in the grand scheme. And then in the ECOC grant, which is that $400,000 grant we just got, it creates a career readiness advisor services, which is actually provided by Midwest Regional ESC. The idea was that they wanted ESCs to have the staffing so that they could learn and work with the district and then be able to provide that service elsewhere. So like we'll kind of master it and do things, and then that person can go and help other districts. And that way we can show that the work is worthy and it's worth reproducing. Does that make sense? So we're just approving this contract. They'll hire the person. We've already done the interview process. They'll hire the person, I think at their July meeting. And that gets you through all your, what is it called? Authorizations and resolutions. With your motion, it's already done.
Duly noted.
All right, if there's no other discussion, we'll have a vote on that, please.
Ms. Striker?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Number 11 is personnel items. Have a motion for that, please.
Carmine.
Rush.
Second. Rush.
You ready to sit back, relax?
Yeah, you
and
might as
run through this
well.
one?
I kind of like the sound of your voice, Jim.
I'm glad. I'm tired. I'm telling you. You had some late nights. So the first A we've discussed. Let's look at the other ones. If I can get it turned.
Educational system.
We have resignations, which is typical. We have the salary movement in letter C. Some people transfer positions, and that's what you're seeing in D and E. And then F is probably one of the pieces to pay attention to. These would be new hires or some like you'll see Sean Smith resigned as an educational assistant, and he took a position as an intervention specialist. And we're really proud of the people that can do that, even Chelsea Scott. So they've worked in our district as an educational assistant. They've gone to school and gotten their certification and then have come back and are able to be a teacher for us, and we're excited about that. I think the rest are pretty. We are, just so you know, adding Miss Newland for vocal music, and we make those judgments strictly on enrollment, and the vocal music programs have significantly increased, and we had talked about that for a couple of months at least, so that's what you're seeing. Rick Collins for Quiz Bowl, typically this is approved a lot earlier because this was for the 18-19 school year, but the middle school wasn't sure who was going to do it and how it was going to work, and then he just started doing it for us, which was wonderful. But then we realized we didn't have a contract, so we just need to officially approve him for the work he did.
This is retroactive.
Yeah, he's done that. Substitute teachers. These are all supplementals. This should all be
Are all the coaching positions filled?
for winter, or is it fall
fall.
sports? Yes, for fall sports, yes. At this time, although, anything could change.
Right.
Could rain tomorrow.
Say the R word.
I know. We talked about that the other night, too.
New athletic director?
Where's that one?
Oh, it's on the next
Are
page.
you
That's on the
ahead?
last page.
I moved
You're
on.
ahead of me. You're
She's
moving me
jumped
along.
ahead.
I'm just going through all this to make sure.
11
It's an educational assistant. Okay, so Brett Purcell, I don't know, several of you, at least 3 of you, I think served on, 2 maybe, served on committees. I don't know if you want to speak to the process, but
I think the process was very good. We came down to basically three finalists and interviewed all 3 of those. The committee there at the end reviewed all 3. So I think we made a good choice. I think a lot of good comments and sharing. So I think our process is very sound and fortunate to get some good candidates.
we like hiring families. That's V and W, because I'd be here for a little while, right?
Right. Saves on insurance.
Yeah, I see.
Wow, you as
laugh,
well.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh, and I'm excited about Wes's position because he will drive bus routes, which is great, but it's that creative thinking. And through our ECOC work, he's going to be doing some design makerspace labs at the middle school, but he'll do that through the grant through Midwest, again, growing career tech and what that would look like for looking at kind of like a graphic design aspect of art. So we have monies from our grant to build the area, and then he'll use his professional expertise when he's not driving bus for us through Midwest to help us. So that's pretty exciting. So you'll see a contract, I don't think it was on this one, but you'll see a contract for Midwest for that work.
That'll be in the middle, at the middle school level?
He will be at the middle school level. Yeah, given that grant. But this is for bus driver.
Right, yeah, I get that.
And I only have one more spot open, and then we might start August with no holes.
if it doesn't rain.
Yeah, if it doesn't rain, you might be amazed what happens.
It probably won't rain till.
It's all good.
You want to take
No, I-
stuff off?
Let's not
We
talk,
still
let's not
have-
talk about the weather.
We still have several openings, even teaching openings, so I'm not asking for a special meeting, but our July meeting is pretty late. So should there be a candidate that we would need to hire, that would need to get released from their job before July 10th, we may have to call a special
Okay.
meeting, because we hire the best person, and so when the principals conduct those interviews, if they refer someone that has to leave, and it's only fair to the other district, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So that they have the opportunity to get someone in place before school starts.
Right.
And some schools start earlier than others, so
Yeah.
we're starting pretty early.
All right, thank you. If there's no other discussion, we'll have the vote on that, please.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Striker?
Yes.
I would entertain a motion to go into executive session to have our evaluation discussion. Albert, is there a
Rush.
second? Go ahead and vote.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carmine?
Yeah.
Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Ms. Striker?
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Yes. So, that's it for the evening. No other business after we come out of executive session. So, next meeting will be July 22nd, 7 p.m.
Woohoo.
Thank you.